Here are 4 letters that spell fear in Australia. MEOC, Middle Eastern Organised Crime. Tonight we take you inside the skilled police squad tasked with reining in these notorious gangs. Reporter Carolyn Marcus joins me now. And Carolyn, these police have a very specific target, don't they?
That's right, Tracy, they do. MEOC makes no apologies for the fact that they're targeting a very specific ethnic group of criminals. After intimidating local communities for a decade, now there's frightening evidence of their new links to terrorism.
Middle Eastern organised crime is not going away. It's here to stay and it's growing.
Some of these people fancy themselves as being Scarface.
They're dangerous, they're trigger happy, and they're absolutely ruthless.
They're known as MEOCs, the Middle Eastern Organised Crime Squad. Their targets, the drug dealers, gangsters and cold-blooded killers of the Middle Eastern community.
These criminals have a real hatred for people like you and people like me and the rest of the community.
Tonight, the inside story of how the squad recovered a stolen rocket launcher from a powerful crime family.
There are still 9 out there in the community.
How a notorious killer was able to run his gang from one of our highest security prisons.
You think, oh, we can all go home and rest now, he's in jail. It just doesn't stop.
And the frightening new links to terrorism.
I did see the emergence of Middle Eastern names.
It's not if, it's when this is going to occur here.
So this really was where it all started for MEOCs.
Yeah, the riots that took place here just over 10 years ago was the impetus for action to be taken by government and by the police hierarchy to really formalise the Middle Eastern Organised Crime Squad.
The Cronulla riots of December 2005 were the culmination of a long-running clash of cultures between a mostly white local community and Middle Eastern youths coming into the beachside suburb. The ugly daytime scenes were followed by reprisal attacks in which mobs of young Middle Eastern men ran rampant in the streets.
There's many different groups out there of different Arabic backgrounds that we need to target and focus upon.
Superintendent Ken Mackay was handpicked to lead the new squad a few months later.
What happened here on the day should never have happened. But what happened later on in response to that, should never have happened. But it did.
Crime should never be politicised. Crime is a law and order issue. It's a social problem. It is not an ethnic problem.
At first, MEOCs came up against resistance in the community, who complained they were being targeted for their ethnicity.
They would come back in your face saying that the only reason you're picking on me is because I'm Arabic. And you say, no, the only reason I'm picking on you is because you've got a pistol in your pocket and half a kilo of heroin.
Now retired, Ken Mackay can reveal the motivations behind these particular criminals.
The Middle Eastern criminal will take on anything. He'll see a hole in legislation, he'll see a scam, and they'll head straight for it. It's like bees to the honey pot, they just can't help themselves.
How do Middle Eastern criminals differ from other kinds of criminals?
They love to be loud, they love to be seen, they love to have noisy cars, they have out there in your face, and they'll be very much bragging.
Their targets got rego plates with the squad's initials, even tattooing their own bodies with MEOC.
I think they must have thought we were dumb because, they had to tell us who to target,
I guess it's a bit of a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way it is. I think that's right.
Dave Roberts and Andrew Mitchell were detectives in the newly formed MEOCs, the pair so feared they earned the nickname the Breaker Brothers.
We did police hard, but we were very fair. We didn't play outside the rules. They might have been bent once or twice, but definitely never broken.
As part of the squad's specialised target action group, their charter was getting drugs and guns off the streets. This is Dave testing an ex-military machine gun he seized from a Lebanese gang member. He and another detective can be seen assembling and firing the weapon at a police shooting range to demonstrate its capacity for damage.
The potential devastation that those weapons could unleash is pretty worrying.
And they were quite happy to not only have a go at each other in public and in some cases kill each other, but also take on the police in a fairly direct way.
By far, the most catastrophic weapon that police found was a rocket launcher. One of 10 that was stolen from an army stockpile.
During all that time, the military had denied that any had been missing.
Until MEOC got involved, the launchers had been something of an urban myth. Their potential existence first raised as evidence in the trial of killer Adnan Darwish.
He would be someone who I would call a pioneer of the Middle Eastern organised crime trade.
Yoni Bashan is a journalist with the Sunday Telegraph and the author of a new book on MEOCs called The Squad. He says police believed Darwish planned to use the rocket launcher to blow up a Western Sydney home belonging to members of a rival family, the Razaks.
So in the end, the rocket launcher wasn't used that night, but they still shot up the house and fired 99 bullets into the property. And ultimately that took the lives of 2 people.
While Darwish was in jail for the double murder, MEOC's detectives went to see him to find out if the rumours were true.
I got a bit frustrated and I said, if you've got them, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore, just stand and deliver.
Eventually, Darwish agreed to hand one back in return for the New South Wales Crime Commission wiping a $50,000 debt. Ken Mackay met with a Darwish relative to collect the weapon.
And there it was, a big rocket launcher, a large amount of explosives, detonation cord and the like.
The remarkable recovery led to the arrest of Army Captain Shane Delavedova, who was subsequently convicted over the theft and sale of the 10 launchers. At one stage, Darwish claimed he'd on-sold 5 of the launchers to terrorist Muhammad Ali El-Omar, who was later jailed over a plot to blow up a Sydney target. But police talks with Darwish broke down, and alarmingly, the rest of the weapons were never found.
There are still 9 out there in the community.
The concern is that they get into the wrong hands, get into the hands of would-be radicalised terrorists, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, it would be very concerning.
Another worry, how Australia's first extreme high-risk inmate, Bassam Hamzi, was able to smuggle a mobile phone into his Lithgow jail cell.
Wonders we'll never see is how you could possibly be in a maximum security, or there's probably the second most secure prison in the state, and making so many phone calls undetected.
He was found out when his voice was picked up on intercepted calls. MEOC decided to let Hamzi continue. Instructing
his underlings to commit crimes, bash people, go to Melbourne, bash this person, break his leg, deal drugs, move guns.
Over 6 weeks, detectives counted a total of 20,000 calls on Bassam Hamzi's phone. MEOC's operatives listening in on the other end, using that information to convict 23 people of drugs and firearm charges. They even heard the gang leader trying to organise a hit on his own brother.
They heard him trying to secure a gun, a motorbike, a helmet and a hitman to orchestrate a hit on his younger brother, Haysam Hamzi, who he believed had been cheating him out of certain drug sales in the community.
You think, oh, we can all go home and rest now, he's in jail. It just doesn't stop. Until we do something, about our prison system, about the security in there, and you still see all these issues happening today.
10 years on, and the work of the squad in 2016 is as important as it ever was.
The reality is organised crime from a Middle Eastern perspective is not going away. Middle Eastern criminals are like cockroaches. If you get a cockroach, you jump on him, and by the time you go and get a tissue to pick it up, it's gone.
There still is a problem, and you can't bury your head in the sand. If there's a problem, the problem's got to be addressed.
There are still brazen public shootings, and now the criminals are branching out beyond New South Wales to other states and becoming involved in terrorism.
Organised criminals are becoming involved or radicalised and involved with that other side of the new world that we're seeing now with terrorism, radicalisation and things of that nature.
The linkages into terrorism you could see it coming. But if we don't take a real close look at what we do here, it's not if, it's when this is going to occur here.
And you can find more information on that story at our website.